Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation. How we doing, folks? And let me just make sure that you are getting the sweet welcome, one and yes. How are we doing, all you beautiful people out there? Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for another little Monday evening chat with all of you beautiful people. How are we doing? It is I, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, your king of extreme, Phil K.O.E., the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, the conqueror, the ethereal, and one damn handsome man, if I do say so myself. How are we doing this evening, all of you beautiful people? We got a lot of things to get into this evening, don't we? But, of course, Big Buckin' Empire, we are now simulcasting with the Big Buckin' Empire on the KOE Nation. How are we all doing, all you beautiful people out of the Big Buckin' Empire? Great to be here. And also, on top of that, I am also the emperor of the Big Buckin' Empire. That one gets to chicken's bottom fucking irritant with no problem. It's great. But yes, you're emperor of the Big Buckin' Empire. But please go to Big Buckin' Empire on Facebook to keep up with even more of this crazy cast of characters and all these great people that we call life. Oh yes, Big Buckin' Empire. How are we doing there this evening? And literally, the way I became the emperor of the Big Buckin' Empire was literally, we were just all sitting around one day, and I call emperor, no gives these backsies, and then I run off. And chicken's like, did that motherfucker just do that? And yes, chicken, I totally did. I absolutely did. Yep. And because I called the ever so essential no gives these backsies rule, it's pretty much permanent. So, folks, how are we doing this evening, all you beautiful people? Before we get into the main event, or the main du jour, the main course, if you will, because don't worry, this is a large meal. It's appetizers, main courses, side entrees, desserts, aperitifs, even the Trau Normand, if we have to. Okay, look up what that is. It's a kind of cognac that you drink that allows you to get a second wind to eat a bigger meal. But we're gonna start off tonight with a big headline. Jack Dorsey is stepping down as CEO of Twitter. And this is according to CNN.com by Brian Fung of CNN. I'm just going to go ahead. Jack Dorsey. Actually, you know what this calls for? This actually calls for something, folks. Something very special. The glasses of extreme. Yes, the glasses of extreme are on for this very special news story. But also, folks, if you are watching, you had best be subscribing. You'd better be liking to all of the KOE content. KOE Nation on YouTube, KOE Nation on Twitch, KOE Nation on TikTok. Very on brand. John, how we doing? God bless. Like, you definitely need to check these guys out at Legacy Comics with an X, COMIX, Legacy Comics. Check them out. They got some pretty interesting stuff coming down the pike. I'm a comic book nerd, but I'm also big, like, even in my farm, we do a lot of business with independent seed producers. So people who are independent and trying to do it their own way, and they've got their own vision. I love it. And these guys over at Legacy Comics, definitely check them out. But great to see you, John. Great to see you. You need to come to it's now Friday evenings post show, because I've got a story that I need to tell you. It's a story that could only come from the world of pro wrestling, but it's one that can never really be told through pro wrestling. So we'll leave it at that. A little bit of mystery for folks. But all right, so we are moving along to the era of Jack Dorsey has come to its conclusion. Jack Dorsey, this is the article. Jack Dorsey, the co-founder and public face of Twitter, will step down from his role as CEO effective immediately. The company announced Monday Dorsey will remain a member of Twitter's board until at least next year. I'm guessing no longer. Parag Agwai, I think that's how you say his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure we're all going to get really familiar with it in about the next 8 months. Twitter chief technology officer will take over as CEO. I decided to leave Twitter because I believe the company is ready to move on from its founders, Dorsey said in a statement Monday. Said no company founder ever. My trust in Parag as Twitter's CEO is deep. His work over the past 10 years has been transformational. I'm deeply grateful for his skills, heart, and soul. It's his time to lead. In an internal note shared on his Twitter account, Dorsey said, I want you all to know that this was my decision. I own it. It was a tough one for me, of course. I love this service and company and all of you so much. I'm really sad, yet really happy. There are many companies that get to this. There aren't many companies that get to this level. And there aren't many founders that choose their company over their own ego. I know we'll prove this was the right move. The departure comes 6 years after Dorsey returned to the chief executive role to help turn around the social network's business. During Dorsey's tenure, Twitter achieved profitability, posted its first billion-dollar quarter, and began testing and releasing a wide range of features to draw in users. But Twitter, like its peers, has also had to confront the challenge of content moderation as well as growing scrutiny from lawmakers and the public. CNBC was first to report Dorsey's expected departure Monday, shares of Twitter jumped as much as 10% in pre-market trading Monday after the report, before giving up some of those gains. While much smaller than rivals like Facebook, Twitter has been central in the debates over whether and how much social media platforms should be responsible for curbing hate speech, violent rhetoric, and misinformation on their sites. Dorsey has testified several times before Congress amid criticisms of his company's handling of user content. At the start of this year, Twitter took the extraordinary step of permanently banning a sitting U.S. president from the service following the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, as the article states. But under Dorsey's leadership, Twitter has struggled to design and enforce an even more complex set of policies and rules for its users, including world leaders. Dorsey has had to navigate those challenges while dividing his time at Twitter while serving as CEO of Square, the payment company he also co-founded. This summer, Dorsey suggested he might be willing to leave Twitter and Square to go work on Bitcoin-related initiatives. As recently as last year, Dorsey faced an investor challenge from activist hedge fund Elliott Management pushing for changes, including possibly replacing him. Dorsey ultimately survived. The report about Dorsey's looming departure comes 15 years after he helped launch the short messaging company. Dorsey marked the moment with the platform's first ever tweet. Just setting up my Twitter, TWTTR. Dorsey first became CEO of Twitter in 2007, but was forced out of the role the following year. He returned as CEO in 2015. So interesting, folks. And that is the conclusion of the article. Interesting, folks, that the minute Dorsey steps down, the stock market goes, happy days are here again. Like, whoa, that was a little unexpected. A 10% jump. Because now, to be honest, if you're just looking at it from a investor standpoint, trying to launch a paid subscriber service on Twitter pretty well failed. And I think that's pretty much what actually did it for Jack Dorsey. They can say it's this, it's that. He couldn't get people to sign on to his pay for Twitter subscriber service, and that was when they decided, let's try to go for a different direction. And when I heard, okay, they're going to replace this guy with a new CEO, I bet they go woker. They will find someone woker. I don't know how, but they will. And from some of the tweets I've been seeing from the new CEO, I don't think they let me down. It's like, oh my. So we'll see what this ultimately says. Like, he's even saying, like, I don't think we need to be restricted by ideas of like the First Amendment and free speech. And I'm like, oh, well, golly. Good to know what I'm getting into if I do get into Twitter, which I'm considering getting a Twitter account, folks. But the minute I do, trust me, you will all be the first to hear about it. But now, folks, there's a debate that I want us to get into. Sweet. That's all just ready to go. I'm going to be keeping score on it. Last night, I did the debate between Destiny and Rob Noir. They did a knockdown drag out debate, and Rob Noir won that one by a couple of points. He was actually quite ahead. He had 9. I think Destiny ended up with 7. So it was close, but Rob ended up edging him out. And there was a couple of times I had to take a point away from both because it's a little bit football and it's a little bit boxing here, folks. But yeah, it's like a ref can take a point away if it really calls for it. You know, in boxing, you can lose a point. But this one is between Destiny and David Pakman. I'm going to blow this up here just for a second so you can see the tweet here. This is over the Rittenhouse trial. This was a debate that happened before the verdict was in, but I just find it fascinating the back and forth that these two had. It got really personal and really weird, and I just want to see what y'all think, and I'm going to score as we go along, and join in the fun with me, folks. Let me know what you think. But start with David Pakman saying on Twitter at @DPakman November 18th. I've been anticipating not guilty verdict all along, but the Rittenhouse defense seems rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is into its 15th hour and have now demanded a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence. Okay. The omni-liberal, Destiny, it's insane that he has this take and he's been watching the whole trial. What level of copium are people on? Holy fuck. So, okay. Destiny comes in. Wagon wheels blazing. Okay. He's like, all right, we're doing this. And Pakman is going to defend his own honor here. We got Wahoo Sam. I think Rob has a way of speaking to average people. He makes things easy to understand. Destiny is obviously smart, but sometimes I wonder if he speaks a different language. Destiny's trying to live in the world where he can actually speak to, your average Joe, but he's also trying to talk to people on Twitter and people on and Twitch too. And there, you got to admit, like, Twitch has a very interesting draw to it, which is what I like about it, because I get to meet people I would have never met otherwise. But they do definitely speak a language no one else speaks. Got to keep my singing voice in fetch for all you beautiful people. But without further ado, let's get into this a little bit. So there you go.
Kenny.
Packy. Whoa, wait, that's actually not a good word.
Oh, wow.
Pakman, what's up?
Off to a bad start.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh, man. Are we not friends anymore?
That's to be determined. We'll know by the end of this conversation, I guess.
Yeah, well, the conversation may be shorter than you might think.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so here's the thing. Mike, I'm going to cut right to the chase. It's just like, I'm worried that you are kind of falling into a kind of depressive black and white thinking where any dissent will not be tolerated. You are looking to have problems with people on the left as part of this whole, like, the left is going, I can't stand the left and all this different stuff, when it's like, it's not even clear to me we have big disagreements necessarily about this case, but it seems like either for lulls or because of something that you've got going on, which I would want to explore, that I'm worried about you.
I mean, we can talk about any of the specific disagreements that I have if you think that I am just hating the left, but I think that all of my disagreements so far with the way that people have talked about this
Destiny
case,
just dropped.
I think have been pretty on point. I think they've been very substantive, but I mean, if you
substantive, now that's it. We should explore that. What does that mean?
This video actually dropped Thanksgiving Day.
Substantive, I think I'm pronouncing it right, means that you have a disagreement, but it has something with substance. There's a basis and an important fact there. It's not just
scoring it right now.
Just like, I'm mad because I don't like this person or whatever, right?
I gotcha.
Destiny 0, Pakman 0.
Let me ask
but when the big haymakers land,
about me being on copium and with the F-bomb, does that not seem a little hyperbolic to you?
And also to everybody watching right now, we're doing something a little special here. If you look at the down here part, we're doing a YouTube subscriber drive for the next hour for, of course, K.O.E Nation on YouTube, Big Buck and Empire on YouTube, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, Yanked Up Podcast, Grow the Farm Up, Dad's Worldwide, Norwalk IRL, and Dog and Chicken Show, all on YouTube. Give them a subscribe. We're doing a YouTube subscriber drive. If you're not subscribed to any, like that, they're all in the down there part. You just type that there in the down there part, what's there, and you will find all those channels. We're doing a little drive for them. Thank you much, folks, and we proceed.
No, I'm actually like really triggered by the amount of misinformation that a lot of people are spreading relating to the case.
Okay.
So your tweet had said that the Rittenhouse defense seems rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is into its 15th hour and have now demanded a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence.
Yes.
This tweet is so unbelievably not even remotely resembling reality.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We don't know if the defense is rattled, right? We don't know one way or the other. I'm giving an opinion. It's not a question of whether it's based in reality. It's my opinion is that based on the way that the do you remember? I don't know. Have you watched the entire trial or have you watched clips of the trial?
I've not the entire thing, but I've watched many hours of it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's been parts that I've missed, but
did you see when there was a lot of discussion about the jury instructions?
I don't know if I've seen that part. No.
Okay. If you haven't seen that, you would be unable to adjudicate my tweet. My tweet.
Well, so
adjudicate.
I can tell you what's wrong about your tweet without having seen that, and you can tell me if I'm missing something. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So you're saying that because the defense is rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is in its 15th hour, that they've now demanded a mistrial. So the mistrial request, they had already requested a mistrial with prejudice before jury deliberation even began.
You're absolutely correct. Now, can I add something to that to understand it even further?
Yeah.
The defense asked for a mistrial with prejudice a while ago.
Yep.
For two reasons. One, that they felt Binger's question to Rittenhouse about not having given his account was a violation of his Fifth Amendment right, number one. And number two, they requested the initial mistrial with prejudice over what they said was Binger asking about something that the judge had already said not to ask about. So that's a request for mistrial with prejudice for those two reasons. Yesterday, the defense asked for a mistrial, knowing it would be without prejudice, because it's now a different thing, because they didn't want the jury to see video, what's described as question 5, which is the drone video, by introducing heretofore unmentioned allegations about they got a different version and sort of implying that Jim Krause deliberately sent a lower resolution version, which can be adjudicated, right? We can, that it may, I'm not even arguing as to the truth or falsity of that. These are two different mistrial requests for different reasons, one with prejudice and one without. So it doesn't stick to say they asked for it before. Yes, they asked for a different mistrial for a different reason before.
This guy is like flirting with me, and then
you rotten ad bastards. And this is going to be a theme throughout this, is the moment I look away for a second. I was trying to find something so I could plug somebody, and then of course the wrong plugs. But hey, Heather, how we all doing? Published author here. Go check her books out. So we're getting starting to get into it, and as you can see, Destiny already landed one. We'll call it a jab. But it landed, and we're getting deeper.
This hyper ultra nuanced form of events, I can kind of believe you, except, well, now the last part of your tweet is not really accurate either.
But hold on, now you're moving on to something else. Hold on.
I'm still in your original tweet. So, because even if I buy everything you said there, the last part of your tweet was they want a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence. They're not, it's not about them asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. They're asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that they received a lower quality version of. That's significantly different than what you're implying in this tweet.
So let's see. Let's take it piece by piece. First of all, I disagree with that characterization, but I'm wondering if
mine is just correct, but okay.
I wonder if you've noticed that you're moving on. You've not acknowledged that the first thing you said was just flat wrong. Can you just directly acknowledge that statement you made? Hold on. Let me ask the question.
For those who do not know, all right, Destiny is the guy with the big goatee here. And he's the bigger picture. Over here is David Pakman, and I've actually watched David Pakman's show for and Destiny. I've actually been on a panel with him before. Very nice guy, very nice man. And last night I was scoring a debate, and tonight I will be scoring a debate as well. And while I score this debate, folks, you need to also keep in mind we're doing a YouTube subscriber drive for the following channels: K.O.E Nation, Big Bucket Empire, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, Yanked Up Podcast, Grow the Farm Up, Dad's Worldwide, Norwalk IRL, and of course the Dog and Chicken Show. So check out any one of those great YouTube channels for a hell of a lot of good content, folks.
Ask the question.
Okay.
Can you acknowledge that you said they already asked for a mistrial with prejudice? I told you that was a different request for different reasons. Can you say, you know what, David, you're right. That part I was wrong on.
I'm not wrong on that. There have been 2 different requests for a mistrial. My problem isn't whether or not there has been 1 or 2. My problem is that if I take your tweet as a totality, your tweet is basically saying like, wow, they're asking for a mistrial just because the jury's deliberating for 15 hours. And they're doing it over a piece of evidence that has already been submitted.
Let me see if I can ask it. Let me see if I can ask it a different way. That tweet, do you concede that my tweet is about a particular mistrial, the one that they asked for yesterday, and not the one that they asked for 10 days ago? Can you acknowledge that there are 2 mistrials, and I'm only referring to one?
Yeah, I can acknowledge that, but the problem is that the second part of your tweet then is still not correct. They're not asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. That's not really what's being asked. It's about the fact that they were given a video that was of lower quality than what was actually submitted into the court.
Fine.
In the pretrial.
Fine. So that let's I will stipulate to that.
Oh man. Oh my. Oh boy. Destiny's on fire tonight. This is not even close.
I concede that my tweet is my opinion. Saying that my opinion is wrong is different than copium with an F-bomb when I've said all along I believe it will be not guilty.
That has nothing to do with guilty or not. Your tweet is just wrong. It's incredibly misleading.
It has everything to do with guilty or not guilty.
No, it doesn't. You're trying to make it sound like they're asking for a mistrial because they're nervous about jury deliberation, and they're doing it for not a good reason. An exhibit that's already in evidence. Why not add an exhibit where they were provided a lower quality version of this before going to trial?
It is not even clear that that's what happened. I'm not taking a position on that because it was a shit show in court when Jim Krause is saying one thing, Miss Wisco is talking about Gmail, Richards is talking about the dates. They don't agree on exactly. I'm not taking a position one way or the other on that. My point is,
you're wrong in what you said. It's incredibly clear what's happened. They received a lower quality version of that file.
I'm sorry, but I got to take a point away. And so Pakman is now at -1 point. So he's doing good. We'll see how
I don't know if you watched
bold
what happened
strategy,
after the break.
Cotton, see if it works out.
But it is clear what's happened. The defense, this particular defense, got a lower quality version of the video than what the prosecution was using. That part is clear. There's no mystery there.
I am not denying that they ended up seeing a lower quality version. What I am calling into question is, given that they knew that days ago, that they had the idea from the jury instruction debate, particularly Richards was asking questions that made them believe, it's conceivable that the jury is going to go right back there. They're going to go around the room and they're going to say it's not guilty on everything for self-defense, and that's going to be it. That has not happened. Wait, hold on a second. But I can't even get my.
I don't. Yeah, sure. Okay, you're getting points out, but they have nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about.
It does have to do with what we're talking about, because the initial. See, we've got it's like a fractal branching. Are you familiar with fractals?
Yeah, but I don't think that this has, in terms of what you're talking about for that piece of evidence, this was a motion that they filed on Friday. This was before jury deliberation even began. I don't know why we're talking now about when the jury rules if they'll rule guilty or not guilty.
Man, I don't know. So it's just now we're like 5 layers removed where we have to sort of go
What?
back. The reason I
Okay, hold on.
by the way, I'm echoing now. I don't know what's going on.
We're
over
not
there.
fine.
You're not what?
We'll let this go
No.
along.
I'm echoing back. I'm hearing myself. Okay, now it's stopped.
Okay.
Now let me see if I can get it. Like I just don't even know that this is productive because now we have to go back 5 levels.
Hold on.
You're
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I can't let you do this. Okay. Because now I have to move to debate mode. Okay.
I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm not
Destiny's
allowed
at
to
4
speak.
points.
You've been
Pac-Man's
speaking, okay?
at negative
but I
2
can't let you
points.
keep trying
This
to
is-
obfuscate your factually
Ugh,
incorrect
this is
tweet by
getting
saying,
brutal.
"Oh, it's so we're 5
Hold on
levels
1 second.
deep. Oh, we're talking about irrelevant shit." Blah blah blah. No. Very clearly and very pointedly, your tweet was heavily implying that the only reason, or a big reason, why the Rittenhouse defense is asking for a mistrial is because they're rattled by the fact that the jury is deliberating in its 15th hour. And they want a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. One, this particular mistrial without prejudice was submitted before the jury deliberation began. They realized this on Friday, number one. And number two, it's not about an exhibit that's already in evidence. It's about them receiving a lower quality thing. Now, you tried to hand wave and go, well, we don't know what happened. No, we do know what happened. They talked about it. He said that in the process of them emailing it over, there must have been this thing got converted into a lower quality file and sent, blah, blah, blah. We know what happened, right? That's what happened. So none of this is confusing. Your tweet is just incredibly misleading.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
Okay.
You convinced me. You're right.
I mean, fuck.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to chat about, buddy?
So we both agreed not guilty is probable.
I have no idea. It's a jury trial. Anything can happen. I have no idea. There could be one holdout right now. It could be a 6-on-6 deadlock. They might be disagreeing over some of the lesser charges. Maybe I have no idea.
Jesus.
Anything
Destiny
can happen. It's a jury
5,
trial.
Pac-Man
Yeah.
-2 at the moment.
All
This
right.
is
Well,
just,
I'm really glad we cleared it all up.
it's all been cleared up.
I didn't
now.
realize how wrong I was until you came on today.
It's. Do you think that the judge is wacky? Do you think he's displayed a clear bias in this case?
I mean, I think that the judge is kind of a doofus.
Why?
And I think that the judge is not like out to.
Honestly, Wahoo, I don't think even David Pakman really knows. He's just like, we're 5 layers deep and fractal branching, and he's trying to use a lot of big words to try and distract. I don't think this is so far. This is just one-sided. Just, I mean, Destiny's just intellectually like Dragon Ball Zing, like just it's not even close.
Get the prosecution. He's not out to get Kyle Rittenhouse off. But I do think that there are instances where he seems, I mean, listen, in terms of the optics, he interrupts and doesn't allow the prosecution to like even finish what they're arguing regularly.
Wait,
whereas
wait, hold on.
Very
Why do you
possible,
think that
Wahoo.
is?
I'm guessing
Wahoo says, I think the jury purposely wanted to give appearance of crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. Just my opinion on it, according to Wahoo Sam. And also, Wahoo Sam says a quick decision would have really made people mad. And, you know, a couple extra days of deliberating, and it was just, we're going to wait to see what happens.
you think
rather
it
than there
is
being
because the
big movements in the
prosecution is
street.
doing things wrong, right?
Okay, well, my understanding is that if the judge feels like the prosecution is going down a line of questioning that he doesn't want them to go down.
I'm not talking about the lines of questioning. I'm saying even when the jury isn't in the room and they're arguing a motion, he doesn't even allow the prosecution frequently to even finish their perspective on what it is. And I've seen him interrupt the defense once in 2 weeks.
I totally disagree with that. There have been motions where the prosecution has won on it. They've successfully argued their point and the judge has allowed things to stand. Like
You're now arguing a different point than the one I'm talking about.
Okay, the implication of your point is that the prosecution is getting cut off more than the defense, or that the defense is winning more motions than the prosecution?
Those are two different things. I agree with you that there were some motions that the defense's position was just wacky on. Obviously, the judge is not going to give every motion to the defense. So there's no doubt that you're right, There are motions where the judge has sided for the prosecution. They were obvious motions. If you looked at the legal analyses, there's no controversy there. The point I was in the middle of making when you went to a different point was on the optics and the way that the judge is relating to the two sides. He's interrupting and admonishing the prosecution regularly, whereas I saw him do it once with the defense. Now, that's a different point from whether you want to argue any particular motion, which I'm glad to do. If we even,
and just as kind of an aside, I thought, a judge that gives a defendant the benefit of the doubt's supposed to be a good thing. Remember? Sorry, we'll continue.
care to. I mean, at this point, it seems like water under the bridge.
I don't understand. I guess so. The first part is I don't know why we're talking optics. We're in court. This isn't about optics or what looks best on like a Twitter.
You brought up my opinion of whether the judge is wacky or whatever. That's about optics. It's not just about decisions.
So my problem isn't you saying the judge is wacky. My problem is you saying things like the judge is turning the trial into a farce.
I think that if you compare, listen. If you watch the trial over the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, you have an extraordinarily measured judge. He's not putting on a show. He's not telling stories for the camera. He doesn't seem to be relishing being on camera every day, but rather wants to be as minimal as possible. He is being clear when the defense attorney starts talking about Colonel Sanders and whatever. He says, listen, I didn't even ask you to do this. In comparison, you have the judge in the Rittenhouse case who's singing, telling stories, referring to a juror, a black that he had, regularly ranting to the prosecution and defense lawyers, but he's talking about the media. He's really like on TV. He's just doing a TV. It's okay, wacky in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So firstly, if we want to, so for the first point, if we want to talk about him admonishing the prosecution more than the defense, we need to show that this is actually unwarranted, which I don't think you'd ever be able to do. We can go back to any of the times he has, and it seems like every time he has, most people that are watching agree that like, yeah, or most people that are watching with a clear mind agree, yeah, the prosecution was out of line here or here. As you said before, there have been times where the defense has lost on certain motions and the prosecution has won on. So it doesn't seem like it's like an evidence of clear bias or he's interrupting the prosecution more. He just does it when he feels like they're out of line, or especially
we had
when
to
he
change the score on that one
off before the jury is able to hear something. Number one. Number two, when you say putting on a show or stories for the camera, I mean, like judges do this sometimes. I don't know if we think that every judge is like Law and Order or like I don't know, some crazy like hardcore trial.
So you're agreeing he's doing it. You're agreeing he's doing it, but you're saying it's fine.
Yes. The problem is
that's your opinion.
No. Oh my God, no. Holy shit, you're so dishonest, okay? The problem is you're not just presenting this as he's doing it. You're presenting it as he's doing it, and then you're saying it's way out of line, or that it's wacky, or that he's putting on a story for the camera. There are plenty of judges.
You just agreed he's doing it.
We're not talking about whether he's doing it. We're talking about whether your characterization of him doing it as being wacky or out of line is fair.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second, Stephen.
Wait, hold on. I didn't even finish responding to all the things you said. I wrote them down so that I could get them all out, okay? So there are lots of judges that will tell stories or jokes or whatever in the courtroom. There are judges that will dress you down. If anybody's been to court before, you will get made fun of or forced to postpone your trial date if you show up or an initial hearing. If you're not dressed appropriately, a judge will throw you out of a courtroom sometimes. Like different judges do things in a ton of different ways. Not every judge is going to be this hard line, like we're here, here's the process, I'm not going to say anything. Like this absolutely happens from courthouse to courthouse. To say that a judge is telling stories, therefore it's like wacky or it's turned into a farce, or whatever, is a totally unfair characterization.
I want to remember this just as we are now.
Nice try, Peacock. Even though I do, watch you on monthly basis for, varying WWE pay-per-views, but no, nice try. Nice try, Peacock. The Peacock. I remember Judge Ito. Heather's talking about the judge here. I remember Judge Ito from the OJ trial. So to this day, we still remember some of them. It just depends.
The idea that he's relishing for the camera, you have no proof of that. You don't know how this guy has run trials in the past. You don't know if he's relishing for the camera. That's an unfair characterization as well. To take his whole story about why he has defendants draw things from whatever that jar was or whatever, and then your only takeaway from that is he called somebody a black. Like, okay, that's also like, Jesus, we're reaching.
I even said, I mean, but Stephen, here's the problem I'm having with this, Kenny.
Kenny.
Man, it's like, how do
right
I
over there?
So there's projection here. there's you're accusing me of I'll explain. You're accusing me of dishonestly and narrowly framing things that you're saying. But even in what you just said, I did an entire clip saying the judge's explanation about why he had Rittenhouse draw the numbers is eminently reasonable. I agree with it. I think it's perfectly reasonable. And his bizarre, it was a black thing, made me laugh, and it's really wacky. And you dishonestly just acted as if I said the entire thing was illegitimate. That never happened. It never happened.
You characterize it as him making the trial a farce. I mean, like, what is the impression there?
My impression of the judge is that the guy is farcical. He's a goof. He's wacky. That's my opinion. You can disagree, but where I'm having a problem.
-3.
You seem unable to just be like, oh, someone has a different opinion, and it's essentially meaningless to either of our lives, but I feel the need to go completely bonkers and like attack people and use the term copium. Like, I'm just wondering why you have this tendency. It has nothing really to do with the trial. It's like, I think the guy's wacky. It's just my opinion.
So
what's
it's like,
the deal?
bro, what's the deal, man?
This defense is unbelievable to me. So
it's not a defense. I'm trying to understand where, like, is it content? Is it just content?
Like, no, you're saying none of this is content. Okay. You're basically saying like, LOL.
I mean, it kind of is content.
That's like what you're saying, right? But this isn't
right
just
here. K.O.E.
People
Nation.
look to online commentators to get their opinions about how the trial is going. My problem, my worry about, I don't know why you're saying, oh God, is some part of that unbelievable to you? That people watch people online to get their opinions about the ongoing of this trial? Did you disagree with that?
I don't disagree that people watch content to learn about things. I agree with that.
Shit.
Okay, I don't know what prompted that response then, right?
No, I'm just saying that part I agree with. Please proceed, Governor.
Okay, so the issue is that
we're
if it
Destiny
does come
7,
out that
Pac-Man
Rittenhouse
at
walks on every
-4.
charge, there's going to be a
This is
whole lot of
getting pretty
left-leaning people in
one-sided,
this
folks.
country who are going to feel like, wow, of course it was. It was a white nationalist, white
bad.
supremacist supporting judge who was making racist jokes
One-sided.
about Asians and blacks, who turned the whole trial into a farce, who was constantly supporting Rittenhouse and unfairly interrupting the prosecution. These are the takes that most people are getting regarding the trial, when the reality is the trial has been pretty standard. The judge hasn't displayed any insane, out of character behavior. There hasn't been any like mess up of the process that's so wrong. But a lot of people are walking away with this opinion because of commentators like you that make statements like this.
So let me ask you then, white supremacist judge, that rant, right? If we just quote that, I never said any of that stuff. So why are you mad at me about stuff I never said?
You haven't said the white supremacist, but you're playing into this overall narrative that the judge is wacky and farcical and is doing things that are unbecoming of a judge or inappropriate in a courtroom. Or
I think that's an incredibly myopic and trivializing interpretation of 100 hours of coverage that I've done.
So you think that, I'm curious then, and I'm super curious, if you were to poll your audience and you were to ask them, do you think that this judge is...
I don't know if I would necessarily make that connection. Oh, shit. Luckily, I remembered.
Or jokes or whatever in the courtroom. There are judges that will dress
of dishonestly and narrowly framing in, and it's essentially meaningless to either of our
supremacist supporting judge. Curious, if you were to poll your audience,
there we go,
and you were to ask them, do you think that this judge has been fair equally to both sides of this trial? Do you think the majority of your audience would be like, yeah, he's been pretty fair?
I have no idea what my audience would say. My opinion is that on the decisions, the judge has been slightly favorable
exactly
to the
what
defense.
His audience would
That's
say.
not like a crazy extreme position. I think the judge's decisions have been slightly favorable to the defense. I mean, that's considered nuts now?
That's not how it comes across.
At this
point.
But we're doing an entertainment show with.
He's playing pretend at this point a little bit.
Opinions. No, it's like you're acting,
which is weird.
Now you're acting like we have to be.
Rob,
hey
Destiny
guys,
was the one
I believe
playing pretend sometimes.
53-47, the judge, and I'm not going to editorialize anything. If the judge does something funny, I'm going to laugh at it.
Is this all just a bit then? Is it all just entertainment?
It's not just entertainment, but this is sort of like when, what's that? Oh God, what is that guy's name? Carl Benjamin. What was that guy? What does that guy go by?
Sargon of Akkad.
Sargon of Akkad. This is like when Sargon of
Sargon of
Akkad and
Akkad.
I were arguing because he felt my titles were clickbait.
Very British.
And I explained to him, I'm picking titles.
Sargon. I do a fairly good Sargon of Akkad impression. Sargon probably listened to that like, fuck off. Wahoo Sam, if he was favorable to the defense, wouldn't he have called a mistrial when the guy brought up Kyle exercising his right as a sign of, judge was close at that point. You never know. So, the prosecutors knew he had to play some games. Oh no.
That are not lies, but that will make people more interested to see what I'm saying. It's like pretending this isn't what we do. It seems very dishonest to me.
I don't view, when I'm covering like news related stuff, I don't view it as just entertainment. But I guess if you do, that explains a difference in, I guess, like what we're looking for in terms of.
That's called a straw man. That's called a straw man because now you're ascribing to me something I never said.
Okay, I might be wacky. Maybe but it sounded to me like just early you said that what I'm engaged in is entertainment. Is that a difference in, I guess, like what we're looking for in terms of.
That's called a straw man. That's called a straw man because.
No, I need to hear that again.
I'm picking titles that are not lies, but that will make people more interested to see what I'm saying. It's like pretending this isn't what we do. It seems very dishonest to me.
I don't view, when I'm covering like news related stuff, I don't view it as just entertainment. But I guess if you do, that explains a difference in, I guess, like what we're looking for in terms of.
That's called a straw man. That's called a straw man because now you're
not
ascribing
to
me something I never said.
And so now Pakman's at -6.
I might be wacky. Maybe but it sounded to me like just earlier.
Destiny's not even having to do entertainment.
Much. Is that, did I misread you, or you can restate that, I guess, if I misunderstood?
Is the mechanism through which we build an audience that there's a component where people go, I'm entertained by this, so I watch it in addition to being informed? Like, is that crazy? Are we arguing about like what is water at this point?
There is some this is level of entertainment, folks. Of course.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you have to balance that out with not like mischaracterizing or misleading people.
So the balance is I'm not saying any of the things you ascribe to me about a white supremacist judge or any of it. But all else being equal, I'm trying to make an entertaining show.
But do you think that entertaining show can come at the cost of giving like a fair and balanced view of what's happening in the courtroom?
I think it absolutely can. And I don't think that that's what's been taking place with my coverage.
You think it can come at that cost?
I think that, of course, it can. We can find examples of anything. Yeah.
I'm not talking about just finding examples of anything. So my guess, and I could be wrong, and I'd be interested to do this poll sometime, although now it might be tanning because people hate me in your audience. But like, if you would have asked before this conversation, do you think the judge is being relatively fair and impartial to both sides for this trial? My guess is that 85% of your audience would say no, that he's disproportionately favoring the defense.
You're saying if I would have done it absent any of my commentary, or what do you mean? Or like yesterday?
Before our conversation, I think the vast majority of your audience would say, no, the judge is absolutely being unfair. And I think that is the mainstream opinion right now in a lot of like left-leaning media coverage, and then across Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, with people watching this. So
is it possible that it's the right opinion?
It is, but I haven't seen anything to substantiate that, because it seems like when you're pushed on it, you do admit, yeah, he's been pretty fair for everything. So it seems like that
I didn't admit that. See, I think the problem is like, I don't know. You're misstating every single thing I say. You're either trivializing it and minimizing it, or expanding it, rather than just dealing with what I'm actually saying.
Okay, I thought you said something along the lines of.
Wahoo Sam says, is this the reason people hate Destiny now? Just because he thinks Rittenhouse is like, that seemed to be one of the bigger divides last year, was his thoughts on the Rittenhouse thing. But I don't know, like Destiny's been trying to find a third way in American politics, and the left really resents him for it. Because he's trying to be like, hey, maybe there's some sort of like reasonable third path, and he's trying. I'm gonna give him credit. I'll give him that. We'll see how far he gets, but the kid's got moxie. The kid's going places.
Of the judge, for the most part, has been fair. Maybe there've been a couple times where he's favored the defense, but it sounded like.
what I've said is, on optics and the way that he runs the courtroom, I think the judge is wacky and doofusy and off color and all those different things. In addition, separate from that, in terms of the decisions he's made, I think his decisions have favored the defense, while he has made decisions that individually are sometimes for the prosecution, sometimes for the defense. It's just you seem to be, because I'm not speaking hyperbolically, you seem to be interpreting it as me saying there's nothing to talk about here. I think the judge has been favorable to the defense, but not 99-1.
Sure. I'm curious then, I guess, since now we're going to take a hyper-nuanced point. Like, in what case do you think he's favored? Do you think he's favored the defense in a fair way or an unfair way?
I think that there are examples of him favoring the defense in an unfair way, and I can give you an example if you would allow it.
Sure. I'm curious. What do you think about that?
I'm predicting you're going to focus in on the prosecution sent the defense.
Now, I'm guessing that we're not going to get an actual, like, something measurable here, because Pakman's on such the back foot at this point. I don't suspect that his debating skills are going to suddenly get real great at the end here. And like,
a blurry video.
like,
I'm going
this is a pretty
that. Okay,
big
so
deficit
think back
here.
before that latest
He's
thing
at -7 and
I believe
Destiny's
that
at 9.
the
Pakman's
defense
at -7.
has been able to take advantage of the judge's technological incompetence by introducing arguments about pixels, algorithms, logarithms, etc. Put the prosecution in a position.
It's getting pretty close. I'm going to be calling it, but there's a couple of good ones I want us to
why
get
everything
to.
is okay. And the judge is simply, out of incompetence, erring on the side of accepting what the defense says, assuming the prosecution is doing tricky things with exhibits, when it's really just the defense using the judge's technological incompetence to their favor.
Okay, I don't know what your background is in terms of how involved you are with the video stuff that goes on for your broadcast, but the judge had an absolutely perfect understanding of the potential issue that could come up. That ruling was incredibly fair, and he didn't even necessarily rule against the prosecution. He just said that if you want to present an evidence in this manner, you need to have an expert witness on hand to do it.
That's the case only with one piece of video, but there were endless instances. Okay, go on.
No, it wasn't the issue with the video. It's that they wanted to take a video and manipulate it in the courtroom. If they wanted to have a zoomed video, they should have submitted that as evidence in the pretrial, not tried to manipulate the video in the courtroom for the jury to see. That's a different thing.
Yeah. I just don't. I mean, listen, you're arguing that a guy who looked dazed and called pixels pickles
And
had a perfect understanding of the technology that's at play. It's like, I feel like we're talking about, what are we talking about?
Hold on. You're obfuscating with so many silly words, with so many wacky words. Whether he called it pixels or pickles or whatever isn't relevant. What the judge said, it's not. What the judge said was shocking to me, because he actually displayed an incredibly sophisticated understanding of the pinch and zoom. Because there are a lot of tech illiterate people, even younger people, even people in both of our audiences that do think, oh, pinch and zoom, that's just like a magnifying glass. It is absolutely not. There's all sorts of software that goes into enhancing images that might be involved in a zoom. But if you want to say that there's not, you just need an expert witness on hand to testify, or you should have submitted that evidence in pretrial rather than attempted to manipulate that video in front of.
So yeah, while I was gone, Destiny got another point. So thus far we're at 10 for Destiny, -7 for Pakman. So Pakman's got a 17-point
jury
deficit.
on the spot.
Okay.
Ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal, but when you're talking about the difference between walking or life in prison with no parole has to do with how 6 pixels are going to be interpreted on a zoom, I'm sorry, but that is totally fair to say, well, I don't know.
The conversation about the effect of technology on exhibits is 100% fair.
Oh, what a one.
Nice try. My God. Almost got some fucking. Thank God I wasn't gone while that fucking happened. Jesus. Copyrighted music. I would have just shit a chicken. But You gotta give him credit. Destiny knows exactly where to put his ads. No good ne'er-do-well advertiseries until I get one. Then
This
they're
where
the greatest
it
thing.
completely fell apart, and the judge's incompetence on the matter became clear, was that sometimes they were talking simply about still images sent from iPhone to iPhone, and sometimes they were talking about enhanced videos, and the parameters and the conversations that apply to some of those and not to
I agree
others,
with you, Wahoo
including
Sam.
interpolation, the so-called logarithms, by which they meant algorithms, bicubic, nearest neighbor, etc. The judge didn't know what way was up or down and thought
Oh my
some of the things
Lord.
being applied to some of those exhibits applied to others. He was completely confused. The defense was throwing objections and conversations about this one way or the other. And these were all completely different issues, different technological questions around different exhibits. And the judge had no idea that that was going on. They were confusing email, video, images, iPhone.
Maybe we watch different things, or maybe I missed a totally different version of trial.
That must be
My
it.
understanding is that this was over one specific video that the prosecution wanted to pinch and zoom. This didn't have to do with emails and all these. It was over one specific video that they wanted to pinch and zoom, and the defense objected. And then the judge said, this seems reasonable. If you want to pinch and zoom in a courtroom, you need an expert witness to testify what information is being added. I think that's a totally fair point, especially if whether or not you are guilty or you walk comes down to how 6 or 7 pixels are interpreted on a Zoom like iPhone. I think that's a totally fair point.
You have followed. So here, okay, let me back up for 1 second. I actually think we may be getting to the end of the usefulness of this, because when I hear you say you were shocked at the judge's incredible understanding of technology, I don't know, Stephen. I'm not even sure that there's a conversation to be had if you were impressed by this judge's technological comprehension. That's scary to me.
Do you think it's incorrect to say that a pinch to zoom could introduce new material into a photo?
It is not incorrect to say that in the absence of actual
just knocking himself out.
But the fact
Negative
that you were
8.
impressed by the judge's technological competence is that's concerning to me.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I haven't heard the judge rule on something where it sounded like he was totally out of his element, where he didn't know what he was talking about.
Really?
If you feel like
Destiny, like that look on his face, like, what? Like, because he's trying to be nice to, because this is somebody that's like, I guess they've been friendly in the past or they've been friends before, but Destiny's also like, no, this is not true. It's kind of like when your friend is talking to you about, like, they think that they've, like, when people think that they've got like the crystals that can get your chakras in order or something like that, or they can get your humors aligned or whatever, and like, no, it's not true. So Destiny's still trying to be nice to his friend, but his friend is
there was an
under
earlier
a
exhibit that was
misapprehension.
unfair. I mean, it's on the defense or the prosecution to object. If they hadn't, then they didn't.
Goodness
but the judge's
gracious.
ruling.
But now you're flopping back to you're going. It's weird because it's like,
please don't say I'm flopping. I'm not flopping. You can.
Well,
say
you're
I'm flopping.
flipping. Maybe flopping is not
I'm
the right
not
word.
flipping or flopping. Okay, talking
flip,
very specific. So you were
flop, a
wrong
flip, a
about the
flip, a
pinch and
flip,
zoom
flip,
thing. The
flip.
judge's ruling there was absolutely fair and showed an absolutely decent understanding of the technology involved. That is absolutely true. So if you thought the judge was floundering there, you are incorrect. Now, if you think there was another point that maybe I'm not aware of where you thought the judge was floundering, or if you think that mispronouncing pixels as pickles, I don't know if the judge did that or if the prosecutor did that, but if you think something like that shows that you're technologically incompetent, I'm sure between the two of us, there are a million times we've mispronounced resolution or interpolation or pixel or whatever.
Dude, the guy
This
is
is
screenshotting
brutal.
text
But I
messages,
just want to give
creating
Destiny a chance to get as many
10-foot-long
points on the
narrow
board as he
ribbon
can.
that he can't even read on his phone in order to preserve text messages. And you're saying that you're
Oh, God,
impressed
the
by the guy's
screenshots.
technological know-how. It's outrageous.
Okay, I don't know how to respond to that. So the fact that the judge
by
had the
taking another
wherewithal to
point away.
understand that a pinch and zoom could introduce artifacts into a
-9
picture,
for
that's something that I wouldn't
12
expect a
for
76-year-old man to understand. But he seemed to have a decent understanding of that, and he said that if the prosecution wanted to do that in the courtroom, they needed
Now, folks at home, let's see how much of a gap. Now, if Pakman does actually land one that's worthy of him getting a point back, I'll put it on. But how much of a point gap do you think Destiny can get between him and Pakman here, folks? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. I think we can actually get a 30-point gap by the time this debate's over. I could be wrong. I think Destiny can do it. Pakman seems to be fucking tripping his own fucking feet right into his or like tripping right over a rake, just coming right into his nose.
An expert witness. That is a
Lord.
totally fair ruling. If you don't believe me, talk to anybody that deals with photo or video, they'll agree. I don't know what else to say about that. If there was another time you thought he was being unfair or technologically illiterate, I don't know if screenshotting text messages is your bar for that, then you can go for it. You can go for it. But as
it's a pretty freaking low bar. I mean, my bar is higher. It's just, you know, it's sort of like
Stop.
it's like printing out emails and putting them in a file folder.
As it pertains to the trial, I haven't heard him say anything that's completely unreasonable in regards to technology.
Really?
Is there anything else you can think of besides, is there like a specific, because this one ain't it. This isn't it. Was there another point that I missed where he said something that was incredibly technologically foolish?
It's not a question of what he says. It's that the defense is taking advantage of the fact that he can't tell the difference between whether pinch and zoom is relevant related to a video or a picture. The defense, I mean, listen, if you just,
you've already lost on this point. Why are you bringing this up? That was a totally fair objection by the defense.
I was trying to be nice to Pakman.
The prosecution needs an expert witness. That's right. That's totally fair. You have to have a different example than that.
So this is me being nice to Pakman.
So the judge said he didn't actually understand. You're simultaneously saying the judge was very, very competent and perfectly understood it, and said, bring in an expert witness. But in saying that the expert witness needs to come in, he said, I'm not understanding it. You're telling me one thing. You're telling me another thing. I don't know. The guy said, I don't know. He said, I don't understand it.
Hold on. What he meant and what he was saying was in response to the prosecution.
So now you know what he meant when he said, I didn't understand it. He meant, I do understand it.
No, because what the prosecution was saying was, this is simple. Everybody has pinch and zoom on their phone. Everybody does this. That was the prosecution's argument. They were arguing in favor of it. And the judge said that he didn't have the technical know-how to know one way or another if that was true. So they need to bring in an expert witness.
But it's like that episode of The Simpsons. Stop! He's already dead. But I just want to see how far this goes. Like, it's like we're already down this. There's not all that much time left on this. So I want to see if we can get there. If we can get there with the scoreboard here. But yeah, this is painful, Heather.
Testify.
I definitely agree.
I think that shows a perfectly competent understanding of the complexities involved in these types of image processing environments.
You first said the guy showed an incredible understanding of the technology. Now you're saying the judge showed a great understanding of his limitation for understanding the technology. These are two different things. You're now going from he was smart enough to realize he doesn't know.
Do you really think that these are two different points, David? Wait.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Wait. Okay. Hold on. I'm curious. I'm just super curious. Do you think that earlier I was saying that the judge has an incredibly good and deep technical understanding of the intricacies?
Yes. You said you were impressed with it. You said you were impressed with his understanding.
All right. Okay. I understand. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Do you understand?
I don't think you're either not approaching the conversation in good faith or you're trying really, really hard to just win a debate and you're not listening to what I'm saying. But I mean, it could be either one. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to win I didn't even want to have a debate. I wasn't the one tweeting about copium. Did you contact me or hold on, Stephen, did you contact me asking to talk today or did I contact you?
People told me in my stream.
No, but hold on, Stephen, hold on. People told me the same thing. Did you contact me or did I contact you?
I messaged you.
Okay.
You responded to my tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. So I'm going to be honest.
So now you're saying the conversation you started is one.
I'm going to be as generous as I can. So Pakman. All right. There we go. He got 1 point in. I'll give it to him. So now he's only -9 points to Destiny's positive 12. We'll see how far this goes. Because
where you don't like that I'm trying to win a debate? What?
No, when I say it's not that I don't mind an argument.
Okay.
It's that it doesn't seem like you're having a good faith characterization of what I'm saying.
I would say the same to you.
I think I've understood what you said pretty well. I'm restating your points back to you. I'm writing them down as you talk to me, but you keep jumping from one thing to the other or bringing up things that we previously rehashed in order to win the point. But I don't
care about, I don't think there's any winners here. I think there's all losers. I can assure you, I have no interest in winning any point or winning any bigger thing here. I really don't care. My concern is
Does anybody actually believe that?
the combination of the ease with which you seem to be triggered by some of this stuff, combined with what I see as a desire to just denounce the left and fight with everybody, to me seems like you're not really in a great place, and I'm worried about you. That's ultimately what it is.
So, I mean, like, we can keep running the memes down all you want, but my problem is
What
that the
memes?
vast majority of everything you're saying right now is a meme.
It's not a
I-
meme.
He's
I
actually.
trying
It's
to
not a meme.
psychologize
by
him now.
misinformation. I do get triggered when people are dishonestly presenting narratives, and then you claim it's just for entertainment or it's just your opinion. And
I
do
never
get
said
mad when
that.
people are you did earlier. People can go.
I
rewind
never
all
said
that.
it's. Hold on a second.
And I do.
But there's two. But see, you're misstating it right
you
there.
just said it. You
You're-
absolutely. You just said that.
So you said
Back
it
to
was
negative
only
10,
for
Batman.
entertainment and it's only your opinion.
You said
I-
earlier. Yeah.
Hold
this
on a
is just my
second. Let me
opinion.
say
That's
what
you
I.
said.
That's right. Let me say what I said.
Let me say what I said.
Sometimes you seem to get a little more mad than it seems sensible over something that at the end of the
This
day is
isn't an
someone's
argument.
opinion.
This is wait. You're not even
The
addressing. what I
second
said.
piece of it is I never said
You're
it's
doing the
only
internet version of,
entertainment.
like, you're just saying you're mad over and over again. Like, this is reinforcing your point. Like, you're like, are you mad? Are you mad? That's what you're doing.
Am I mad, you're saying?
No, you're asking me in more words. You're saying, like, you seem mad. Are you mad? That's your response to like half the things I'm
Ouch.
saying to you.
Yeah, because it's not it's like I know a lot of people and I relate to a lot of people.
Yeah, you can tell he's
And
really worried.
The degree to
You
which you're just
mad?
furious all the time is not
Yeah.
normal to me.
I do think it's funny. Like Heather's like, oh yeah, he's really worried about you. He's so worried. He's just so worried. That's the attitude that we've all gotten for the last few minutes, right? Yeah. It's kind of silly. Let's see what we get.
This isn't a response to anything I've said. I am furious on the internet a lot. It's what I've done for the past 10 years. But I think that I make a lot of salient critiques to how the majority of people online seem to be covering this trial. And a lot of your coverage has fallen in line with that. That there have been unfair rulings from the judge towards the prosecution and the defense, that the trial is a farce, that he's favoring one side, that he's incompetent technologically, and that's why he's ruling some things. And I think all of these things are just demonstrably untrue. But I
All
mean,
right.
maybe
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
just
I guess we just disagree. You know, it's just I don't know. The problem is like I'm sort of like
It's one of those things that I never ever like in debates. Whenever people say I agree to disagree, I'm like, well, no, I do not agree to disagree. I never agree to disagree. And in fact, people who say agree to disagree, that's just a bullshit phrase that people use and don't have better arguments use so that they can still believe the stupid things that they now know is demonstrably untrue, but they get to keep holding these dumb thoughts in their head because they said no, agree to disagree. So yeah, to me, whenever people say that, it's like, no, I don't agree to disagree actually. So it's a very interesting thing. Like I've even been in what you'd call polite society at times where that was said in meetings and like, no, I don't agree to disagree actually, but all right. So just
I feel
one of my
totally
personal
fine being
picadillos,
like,
if
hey, you know
will.
what? Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II has a different opinion than me. He came to different conclusions than me on some things. He isn't a bad person as a result. I'm not assuming bad faith. It's like, it's just not a big deal. I'm not furious with him. I'm not tweeting copium F-bomb. Whereas you see that
Seems
I
like
could
it's kind of a
only
big
have come
deal
to
to him.
these conclusions either by lying to my audience or doing it for entertain. You know, like it's weird. That's the problem I'm having where you
Wait,
seem.
This doesn't make sense. If it was the case that one of us was lying and the other wasn't, then it's not really an argument to say, well, one of us is cool with both sides and the other is upset if the one person that's cool with both sides is the one lying. Now, I'm not saying that is the case here, that we know that to be, obviously, because we
Interesting.
disagree on that. But like, yeah, of course, I'm going to be a little bit more upset and you're going to not care as much if I think that you're the one that's being dishonest, which I think your tweet obviously clearly was. So, I mean,
I
like, yeah,
could
that's not
just
a
as
response
easily
either,
listen,
though.
Stephen.
Yeah.
The internet, my audience and your audience are filled with people who on the same basis of fact think I'm being honest and you're being dishonest. So it's
And I would welcome any of that discussion. If anybody wants to talk with me,
go talk to
I'm
Kenny.
on
That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's just
Anybody wants to, feel free to, because I
Yeah.
haven't found a single person that wants to talk about the facts of the case. And it seems to be like pretty ubiquitous that the people that are the most mad just haven't been watching what's been going on, or they've just been dissecting headlines.
But hold on a
from
second.
Twitter.
Hold on a second. You just said, I want to get through this point without you interrupting me.
Go for it.
Oh God.
You just said it seems to you that the people who are most mad haven't really been watching the case. You just conceded. You're way more mad than me. By the standard you just
for
laid out,
fuck's sake.
we would have to assume you're not really watching the case, right?
I said that it seems to be. That was
Right.
the whole point behind my tweet, where
Making
I was
another point
surprised
on
because I know that
Pakman.
you've been watching the whole case.
That argument was too smart by half. Okay, that was like he thought he had something there, and oh, look at that face. He's like, oh, it didn't do anything.
So I
Yeah.
didn't understand how you were saying things that were just factually untrue.
It's just weird because, like, if imagine that this was about the World Cup, right?
Ah, you no good rapscallion ne'er-do-well addery. They got me again. The ads someday, folks. Actually, I did have one time when there was ads on one of my videos. I was doing a happy birthday. I was doing a toast to every U.S. president, and I did Trump's. And when I got to Trump's, that one, like, whoa, that video blew the fuck up. That was kind of fascinating to watch. It's like, oh, so is this what other content creators feel like? So let's, oh, balls, of course. Really?
Incredibly fucking brainless.
Okay, sorry. Accidentally, if you were to see what I did, you'd be like, Phil, you idiot.
Being like, hey, you know what? Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II has a different opinion than me. He came to different conclusions than me on some things.
Free to, because I
Yeah.
haven't found a single person that wants to talk about the facts of the case. And it seems to be like pretty ubiquitous that the people that are the most mad just haven't been watching what's been.
There we go. I know.
How you were saying things that were just factually untrue.
It's just weird because, like, if imagine that this was about the World Cup, right?
We're back.
Okay.
If I
Sorry, I
watched
accidentally
one
clicked
World
the wrong
Cup
thing,
game and you
folks.
watched every game and you had a different opinion than me, my initial instinct would be, hey, you know what? Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II saw every game and I didn't. I shouldn't immediately assume he's lying, a bad person, arguing in bad faith, or deceiving people. My initial instinct would be, he's watched much more of it. Let's see how he came to that conclusion. Your reaction to having watched parts and I've watched the whole thing is to assume I'm lying and arguing in bad faith. It's strange to me. That's unusual.
Because I've been watching parts of your coverage, and every single time you just seem to be constantly and relentlessly shitting on the judge and not understanding like what like anything that he brings up is like like this is just him being biased, or oh, the defense was saving this because of the jury deliberations. Like
that's just when I said that, you know, I don't know if you watched when I said that on my stream. I literally said, guys, I'm just throwing this out there as like a, what do you think of this sort of thing? That's all it was. It's like, it's not, this isn't like, you know, I don't, I'm bored by even having to keep talking about it. It was just like, hey, does anybody think this might be a thing? And a bunch of people in my audience go, no. And some say yes. And that's it. That's all it is.
No.
okay.
Yeah. It's just not a big deal.
No.
I guess it's all just memes in the end, huh?
See, that's the thing. You then trivialize it by saying it's all memes. Like when I say to you, listen,
constantly trivial. It's just my opinion. It's just entertainment. Like I was just throwing it out there. Like it's just my opinion. Like you're the one that's trivialized the fuck out of your side completely over and over again. Like,
but I'm watching a trial and it's literally my opinion. I'm watching a trial and it's my opinion. I'm giving my opinion.
Yeah, but we're not. The disagreement isn't over the
there.
Like opinions can have. You're trying to make it sound like anybody can have any opinion about anything.
Right? No, I am not. No. I'm against that type of sort of postmodernist thinking. That's not what exactly I'm saying at all.
Are you though?
I walk into my apartment and I'm like, you know what? I think that somebody replaced my computer with an idea.
That's one of those, you know, Ron Burgundy. I don't believe you. Yeah, I'm not a postmodernist thinker.
Identical computer that's exactly what has all the same information. And someone's like, why do you think that? And I'm like, bro, why are you attacking me? That's just my opinion.
Childish. That's silly.
Wait, what are you talking about? How many times you said over and over again, this is my opinion, or this is just...
No, but you're angry when someone just comes to have a different opinion. It's a weird level of anger.
1 point away from a 30-point difference.
Misstating things like why the defense might be asking for a mistrial, or implying that it's because they're nervous about jury deliberation.
True.
Because
Stephen.
Yeah.
Have you talked to the defense?
No.
Okay, so you're saying that something
you
is
talked
factually
to
wrong
the
when it's just
defense?
an idea. You have the idea that the defense wouldn't hold bringing the mistrial request in open court. And I said, what if they
filed it? They'd already filed it.
But they didn't push the judge for the decision.
I don't think the judge had read the motion yet. I think they were gonna. They had the mind to file it on Friday.
They might or might not know that.
Okay.
But it's just weird when you're like, hey, your speculation is that's not something the defense would do. And I go, I wonder if the defense would do it. And somehow I'm the one who's bad because of that.
Because, like was the defense supposed to go on Sunday to the judge's house and say, hey, consider our motion right now? Like,
well, yesterday was Wednesday, right? So they gave it to him on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, I don't even know what we're arguing about.
Well, it's funny because the judge in court literally made a statement about people like you. I think it was about this motion where he said, people in the media are really upset that I didn't rule on this motion on Monday. And, I literally just got this and I haven't even given the prosecution a chance to respond yet.
I thought that was on the, so I might be mistaken. I thought that was on the first mistrial request.
I think there was a second one that they submitted on Friday that had to do with, I think it was a mistrial without prejudice. I might be mixing these two up, but I don't think the prosecution had responded to this yet. I'm just saying, like, your narrative is so conspiratorial.
I really don't have a conspiratorial tendency. I'm very much not a conspiratorial. That's not my instinct. My audience, I think, knows that.
Do we though?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever think there were points where Rittenhouse was just firing indiscriminately into the crowd when he was shooting?
No, upon seeing the videos more closely, I would say no.
Okay. All right.
We're getting
Is there anything
there.
else you want to chat about? Or
I mean, listen, I think that the self-defense case on Huber is pretty obvious, legally speaking. I think that if there's a question, it's going to be about Rosenbaum. That's my prediction in terms of the jury. And I think that I would be shocked if there's anything other than just not guilty on Huber, but I think that they'll focus their debate on Rosenbaum, their deliberation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very true.
Do you have is my opinion
Do your
wrong
research
on
before you open your mouth. True.
No, you can have an
Banger's
opinion
still
on
drinking
literally
the pain
anything.
away.
Oh,
My
okay.
opinion is that the sky is blue
17
because I think somebody put a lot of food dye there a long time ago. But I think we can have opinions on whatever we want to have opinions on. I think that's fine.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I love you, David.
Are we fighting now, or like am I like Hassan Piker now where we don't talk?
Hey, I fight with everybody. I love it. I think it's fun. I don't hate you. I think.
Hey, in all seriousness, I hope that this isn't inappropriate, but you've never mentioned being mildly autistic. You're not mildly autistic, right?
Oh, what the?
I'm
fuck?
half Hispanic. Okay. When
I'm 100% Hispanic, but that's not the question.
I don't know if
What
your
the
Argentinian family is the
fuck?
same, but when my Cuban family argues with each other, they are fucking screaming at the top of their lungs. That's what normal conversation sounded like.
Fair.
When I would go to Miami.
Fair.
And hang out with my friends.
That's fair.
How
No,
I'm used to my family.
really?
Yeah.
He's
so
going
when I
there.
talk with my white friends or whatever,
What
or
the
not that we're
fuck?
white, of course, because we're Hispanic.
we're Hispanic. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. This is like a normal conversation. I'm fine. I'm chill. Okay.
But you're not autistic.
I have no idea. I play video games. I might have developed autism. I played a lot of League of Legends, David.
That's pretty fucked up.
Huh. I'm not joking around about this. It sounds like you're saying maybe you are slightly autistic.
Maybe that's just your opinion, though.
No, I don't have an opinion. I have no opinion. I'm asking you.
I don't know, David. I'm not sure.
See, I can't tell if you're memeing now.
Seems to be a big problem in this conversation, huh?
Huh. All right.
Maybe-
Well, listen, I
Maybe,
mean,
not being able to read social cues is a big sign of autism.
I
Maybe
know
you're
that's
autistic. Maybe
why I
you're
think
projecting your autism onto me. Do you think?
I think the reason some in my audience brought this up, I'm being very serious here, is that they thought that the rapid escalation in attacks were a lack of reading social cues. I think that's why someone brought it up to me.
Oh wow.
Oh, gotcha. Are there a lot of social cues on the 180 character tweets that people are sending out? You know what, David? You know what would have fixed all of this?
Tell me.
You need more zoomers in your audience. You got to tag your tweets with the slashes at the end to get
Jesus.
the tone tags.
Tweets?
talking
What are
about?
tweets?
Tweets?
Oh, sorry. I misheard that.
Tweet. You have to do the tone tags at the end.
All right. Well, I don't even know what that is. That's crazy.
Okay.
But
Look them up, and it helps people like me understand your tone better.
hey, so did you move to Miami?
Not yet, but in by the end of the month, I probably will have.
By the end of this month?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, if you're in LA and you'll have me, I would love to get lunch in a few weeks, but it sounds like you may be gone.
Oh, just let me know when you're here and I'll have you. Okay.
You're still going to
Maybe
be living
we can,
there, aren't
maybe
you?
we can grab Hassan and he'll come hang out with us too. Okay.
I plan to go to the Hassan house, actually.
Oh shit! Make sure you have your proper identification so you don't get shot by security. But otherwise, yeah, that should
Ouch.
definitely be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, but in all seriousness, you'll be in LA in a few weeks still, right?
I probably will be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's feeling like the end of the month for Miami.
Okay.
Might not happen.
It's about to...
Maybe we'll see.
All right, good, Steven. We'll keep in touch and let's just relax. Let's relax. Let's live together. Let's be in peace, you know?
He's trying
Okay, I'm
too
super
hard.
peaceful, super relaxed. All right.
All right,
All of
thank
this
you.
so far, David. This was just all my opinion. All right. I do this for entertainment, so it is what it is.
That's what I assumed, actually.
Okay. Well, hey, I love you. Stay safe, David D. Pakman. Okay.
All right, there.
Oh, that was fucking brutal. Gets as the clock's winding down, last 10 seconds of the last round. Destiny gets one last shot in. So, folks, the final score here. Oh my, the final score. Yes, peace and love. The final score at the end of this is Destiny at 22 points, Pakman at negative 14 points. So that is a 36-point difference. I think it's fair to say Destiny doesn't need to debate Pakman again. Like, that was goodness gracious, that was almost painful. That was just, I mean, knock down, drag out. So the undisputed, but yes, Heather's put it best. He did it to himself. Like, he really did. Like, I've seen a great show, The Ultimate Fighter. It's about mixed martial arts. And there was one match where guy picks someone up for a high single leg and he goes to slam him, but he puts his head in the wrong way. And so he slams himself face first into the mat and knocks himself out. And he beat himself. And yeah, that happened a lot. And also in pro wrestling, there was a wrestler named Abyss who he would always lay out these thumbtacks. And the idea was he was going to throw his opponent in the tacks, but he was the only guy that would want to take the bump. So somehow, some way, this big wrestler would always manage to find some way to trip over his own dick into his own fucking tacks. And so, like, it did kind of remind me of an Abyss match a little bit, where he's just falling into his own tacks somehow, some way. But yes, 36-point difference. Destiny 22, David Pakman with the now defining negative score. I don't know if anyone will ever be able to top this negative score. So, David Pakman, congratulate yourself. I think you have a new record here at the K.O.E. Nation, one that will probably never be surpassed. That many negative scores, folks. Oh, Lord. I was pretty shocked myself. Like, I figured, you know, Pakman will have, like, you know, a couple 5 or 6 negatives by the time it's all said and done, but it was quite,
hey guys, grow the farm up.
Quite significant, I think. Oh, I just gave you a little spoiler as to what's coming on. But yeah, folks, that was more than a little one-sided. I think that's safe to say. But Destiny is the winner for this evening. And folks, this evening was quite a back and forth, but it was pretty one-sided, let's be frank. But what shouldn't be one-sided is the YouTube subscriber drive that we are doing for this hour, folks, which is going to be coming to a close here. So we're going to get it through it one last time, folks. The YouTube subscriber drive for the following YouTube channels. Of course, K.O.E. Nation for all your K.O.E. content. Big Buckin' Empire. Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast for all your wrestling news and rumors. Yanked Up Podcast for just good salt of the earth folks. Grow the Farm Up, which we're going to get into here in a minute. Dad's Worldwide, great stuff on Dad's Worldwide. Norwalk IRL and the Dog and Chicken Show. So, folks, you need to be sure to check out all of those YouTube channels. And, of course, KOE Nation on YouTube. That is K as in King of Extreme. O is in, oh my God, KOE Nation is on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok now? E as in extreme. KOE Nation on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. But definitely check out Big Bucket Empire, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, the Yanked Up Podcast, Grow the Farm Up, Dad's Worldwide, Norwalk IRL, and the Dog and Chicken Show, all on YouTube, folks. But yeah, I'm going to take a quick break to answer a call of the wild here, folks. But I'm going to let you know what's going on with a little something going on over at Grow the Farm Up.
Hey guys, Grow the Farm Up. This has been a video a long time coming. That is heart healthy, high nutrient dense, very brand cooking oil that came from a field that looked exactly like this last year. Project non-GMO verified. And it's the brand name that we've gone with. I'll link at the bottom of the page. We have our own YouTube channel and some other just web-based documents and things of this nature. We've got the food label, simpler the better, we found as we went through it all. The nutrition facts are on there, very heart healthy. And right now it launched, basically we launched it in 2020, but it's really now just starting to get out to the markets, and we're seeing restaurants really like it. It's a high oil, or excuse me, it has a higher flash point. It's made for higher temperatures. I know the people that have been using it also have suggested that the flavoring is better. Breeding these high nutrient dense soybeans and farming them regeneratively, keeping them 100% non-GMO pure in an identity preserved system, has led to the end product of that soy cooking oil, very brand. Just go ahead, Google it, look it up. You can buy it anywhere. I don't know that it's on the shelves of stores yet, but it will be soon. This is something we've been working towards for really 5, 7, 10 years. This is just one of the end products that I'll be happy and excited to bring you guys and show you guys about in the next month or two to come. But very brand cooking oil. It was very much grown in a field that looked just exactly like this last year. This oil came from this field, completely closed looped, totally traceable audit trail from planting to harvest to storage to the creation of the end product. Project non-GMO verified. And like I say, guys, check it out. Heart Healthy Cooking Oil, one of the products that I'm going to be letting you guys know about. Again, look at the bottom of in the description. There will be a link to the very YouTube page, and there also the web page that we set up for it. So moving fast, and it's actually a big demand for it. And now that restaurants are opening back up, once they try it, they just call and ask for more. I mean, notice this is in a 2-gallon jug. I mean, that's a pretty big jug for cooking oil, but that's the demand that we've had for it. So, all right, guys, wanted to show you that real quick. Out looking at some non-GMO, high nutrient dense soybeans today. Thought I'd stop by the house and grab a jug of these. I got, 25 of them. So anybody wants to try it, let me know. I'll send you some. Grow the Farm Up.
And nice try. That bastard. He's got ads on his YouTube channel. No good ne'er-do-well. But yeah, this is what his YouTube channel looks like, in case anybody's curious. Grow the Farm Up. And, he's got a couple of different, really good stuff here. A lot of great content. Grow corn with no fertilizers, no herbicides, applied 100% regenerative legume cover crops. Interesting.
Okay, guys, Grow the Farm Up. We're here looking at our Austrian winter pea cover crop, commercial corn planted right into the cover crop of Austrian winter peas.
Well, thank you, Heather.
Worms everywhere.
Yep.
As I dug up.
That's a big one. Like you can see it right there. off on the right side of your screen, right under the K.O.E Nation logo, there's an earthworm. My grandfather made the observation one time, and he went into some of his other neighbors' fields, and he noticed the only place he could find an earthworm was on the fence row because of everything they were applying. The worm didn't want to live there. And he's always been of the opinion you make your money off your creepy crawlies. All the things that are in your soil is how you make your money. And so he was absolutely correct. And that's something that my father still to this day prides himself on, is when you go out to one of our fields, you turn a shovel, you're going to find a hell of a lot of worms. And yeah, worms are what make your soil healthy. And so yeah, you need the creepy crawlies in the soil, so it needs to be alive. And so it's one of the things that there's some, it's like anhydrous ammonia. I'm not gonna begrudge or besmirch any farmer that applies it because it's good cheap nitrogen, okay, but it's something that we don't apply for our fields, okay. It's to each their own, but like I said, I'm not going to besmirch any of my fellow farmers. Just something to keep in mind.
Just a little bit of ground here. Look at how incredibly porous. This is from the root growth of the Austrian winter pea, and also very good earthworm activity. I mean, there's a worm, just worms, worms, and worms. More worms everywhere. Take a look at that. This has been a notoriously clay piece of ground. This particular test plot is about 15 acres. And on this one, what we did is we just let the Austrian winter peas grow. No fertilizer, no herbicide, no other input costs other than land and seed and a little bit of water. But this has been just a notoriously clay piece of ground for years. And you can see the root structure of the Austrian winter pea. It really grows. I mean, just, God, look at that porous hole here. I mean, the Austrian winter pea, they seem to grow, vertically and horizontally in your top 3, 6, 8 inches of soil. Look at the just remarkable porousness. I mean, unbelievable. Let's dig a little more up here and see what we find. Another earthworm. Another earthworm. This is truly regeneratively farmed, cover cropped. And again, I mean, you just find porous hole after porous hole, and a lot of it, there's another worm. A lot of it is the way that the roots of the Austrian winter pea grow. Now let's carry on here and take a look. Again, no herbicide. I didn't spray a single herbicide on this field all year. No weed killing herbicides were sprayed in this patch at all. The Austrian winter pea did almost overtake the corn crop. And you can see
No, you just want good porous soil that air can pass through and microbes can pass through easily, and yes, a worm can even pass through. You want your soil to be as much a part of the ecosystem as anything on top of it. So you do want porous soil, and then the roots can really get down in there. If you got good porous soil, they can get good deep roots that can withstand the weather and can get deep water if they're stressing for it. Wahoo Sam says, do you ever have to take off the surface dirt to reach deeper soil? Well, you never want to do that if you can at all help it. That's your topsoil. But there's times when you got to take hills and drag them down into valleys to make to make a good flat, even field. So yes, you do some dirt work, but yeah, like roots, or think of them like tendrils. Like, again, I make this mistake so many times. I do this too much, where I assume like what I know is just the baseline of all human knowledge, and just, well, obviously everybody knows what I know about farming. Why wouldn't you? Like, because I've just been doing it since I was like 5. So I just assume what I know is the baseline of all. But when a seed cracks open, the roots become these tendrils that go down and reach out everywhere. and you want them to get as deep as you can, because if you water them too early, they won't reach deep. They'll just stay on the surface because that's where all the water is, and they don't have to try all that hard. Problem is, they'll blow over in a storm. So you got to know what you're doing. You can't water them too. You got to get them to germination, and then you got to make them at least want to have to work for a drink a little bit, but then you got to get water on them at the right time. So it's the hurry up and wait of agriculture. But your topsoil is generally where a lot of your biological and your organic material is, so you don't really want to do that as much. And like, especially where I'm at, once you get through about 6-8 inches of topsoil, it's freaking clay. So you have to really know what you're doing to actually turn that into workable, plantable soil if you want to actually have a crop. And it's something I got to give my grandfather and my father credit. They knew what the hell they're doing. And this is my full disclosure. This is my brother's YouTube channel, and we're just, walking through a field.
Just do this time of year, but you can kind of see the discoloration up to this line. And some of that is that the Austrian winter peas were.
Well, hey there, Grow the Farm Up. How we doing there, Grow the Farm Up? And he's here, and he's just like, Phil, shut your goddamn mouth. Let me explain everything about farming to folks. I mean, he might not say that actually, but he's thinking it. How we doing there, Grow the Farm Up? And as you can see in the little down here scrolly part, he's also, check him out, Grow the Farm Up on YouTube.
2 feet, 3 feet tall, but look at the great amount of just biomass and organic matter. There's certainly some weed escapes out here. Absolutely there are, but it's, quite remarkable. Here we got a spot. Here's a spot that for whatever reason didn't get planted. Maybe planter error, who knows what, but look at how clean it is. You got a giant weed escape right there. So, don't misunderstand me. Absolutely no herbicide. You're going to have some weed escapes, but this is extremely remarkable. Let's take a look here and see. Dropped my shovel. Let's take another look here. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. And you can see, you can see, the viney nature of this Austrian winter pea. And this looks like it was a drive track that we drove the planter down. Let's see. And again, this has been one of my notorious clay. Oh, that just sinks in. Remarkably just sinks in. And look at that, more earthworms. Look at how porous the soil has become.
And there's an earthworm in his hand.
And right this direction. Now we're going to go over here into a conventionally farmed plot, which is right next to the Austrian winter peas. And you can see here, no Austrian winter peas here. This is a conventionally grown, we put on herbicides, fertilizers, things of that nature. And I think the corn looks very good, on both sides of the field. A little gray leaf spot. This is right next to that Austrian winter pea patch, so we didn't put any fungicides or anything on. As we travel through the field a little further, let's take a look at one here. Man, that's not a bad looking ear of corn by any measure. But you can, let's also take a look at the soil here. And, we do have pretty good soils from, this farm has been in cover crops and rotation for years also. So it's not as though, this is not had some regenerative farming practices used on it before.
I'm going to hit pause just real quick here. We got Grow the Farm Up with a comment. Soil needs water and oxygen. Porous soil allows natural nutrients to be available to the root system. Oh, there we go. Grow the Farm Up also says soil is a living organism. Very true. Just like you and I, people try to eat healthy, feed your soil healthy. Very true. I mean, when people think of it like that, it does kind of crystallize it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Soil is just like an organism, and yeah, it's got a lot of microbes in it, but so does your digestive tract. There's millions of organisms that your one body supports. Wahoo Sam, does tilling make it easier for those roots you were talking about to reach down, or does it? Yes, that's one of the purposes. It does allow for your roots to reach deep down, but there's also a lot of other reasons for tilling. Sometimes you do it for weed control, for soil damage, to do erosion. If you're having some erosion problems, you're gonna have to till some things in. So there's 1,001 reasons why a farmer would till, but there's also some that go purely no till, and you're using the root structures of your previous crop. The next year's crop will follow those root structures down. So that's why some folks go no till, other folks till. But yeah, there's 1,001 reasons.
Or I mean, good earthworm activity over here also, and you can also see, some porousness in the soil also here. But the important thing is, and I want to ask you guys, I know we're not supposed to say this anymore, but I would like to make some money farming and really lower my risk profile across my entire farm. I have hundreds of dollars an acre in herbicides and fertilizer and various other I guess what I would call conventional commodity practice. And you can see even over here where we sprayed, you have some weed escapes. And so let's venture back over into the Austrian winter peas, and you can see we're just getting into the first row or two. And yep, I mean, here's a weedy patch, definitely. I mean, you can definitely see a bit of a weedy patch here and there. There's more weeds out here in the Austrian winter pea patch. But now let's take a look at an ear of corn over here. Not quite as big, a little tipping back.
Not bad.
If you ask me, this corn looks slightly nitrogen deficient. The Austrian winter peas, through the test that we did this summer, probably gave us just shy of, God, I had a hard time believing it, just shy of a couple 100 pounds of nitrogen. And we drilled.
Now, Grow the Farm Up, he brings up an excellent point about what we do on our farm. We try to do as little tillage as earthly possible. But like I was saying a little earlier, I don't want to begrudge or besmirch any of my fellow farmers for what practices they do. Like I was saying, like, we don't apply chemicals that destroy the creepy crawlies in our soil. Others do because it's cheap nitrogen. I'm not going to begrudge, and I'm not going to besmirch my fellow farmers, but our practices are a little different. Which we also, we believe if you put something on that soil, Mother Nature will grow it. So just put something there, and why not just put something there that'll actually help your soil when it's your off seasons. Wahoo Sam, and not by there's no off season for farming, but when your field is not in a your cash crop's not in it. Wahoo Sam, did you guys ever get lost in the fields as kids when the corn was really it's always kind of funny. People think you get lost. No, the rows are north, south, east, west. It's actually really easy to find your way. So if just keep walking, you'll find the end of the field. And then at that point, just reorient yourself. But if you know you're north, south, east, west, really not that big of a problem. But that's just something I always find funny for people like people that aren't from around here get really freaked out about cornfields, and people that are from around here just like, what? It's a cornfield. Like, how could you get lost in it? Like, it's almost kind of funny. Um, yeah, it's like, so it's just kind of a difference, I guess. I think a big reason is a lot of people watch that movie Children of the Corn. Heather, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mother Nature got this. Pretty much. You got the idea. Because I mean, a lot of people, a lot of farmers, sometimes they'll just have like a brown barren field for months on end, and they have to apply herbicides to keep it that way so that they don't have weeds grow on their field, so that they can plant their cash crop later. What we're doing is putting in these cover crops, so there's something growing there. And a lot of them, like these Austrian winter peas, they actually have little nodules on their roots that actually leach nitrogen into the soil. So you're actually gaining nitrogen and nutrients that the next crop needs by just planting this winter pea. And you're just letting, just like you said, you have the sun powering the whole thing, and this seed that's growing, and it's going to do its thing. It's going to benefit your soil. So the cover crop, and also if you do the right kind of turnips and you plant them just right, you get like, those turnips will go so deep into the soil, it'll actually do some of your tillage for you. So cover crops is really the way that we go. But like I always say, I'm not gonna, begrudge my other fellow farmers. But also another great thing Grow the Farm Up brings up is cover crops also sequester carbon. Check out the channel to see how we quantify the amount of we're going to get there. Don't worry, we're going to get there. But I got to take a moment to address the K.O.E. Nation Grow the Farm Up. Come now. But yes, that's the other thing is cover crops also take a lot of carbon out of the atmosphere and put it back into the soil, where it actually, again, we're carbon-based life, this becomes something that can become available to the plants once the creepy crawlies in the soil break it down. And also with the help of like mycorrhiza fungi and such things like that. But yeah, if you can get the carbon out of the atmosphere, put it in the soil, let the plant break it down, and then you eat the carbon that everybody's like really worried about. It seems to, I don't know. Seems to actually maybe help anyways.
These Austrian winter peas with our little drill last fall, that'd be about October of 2019, and then we overwintered. If you look at my channel, you can see where I'm walking around February 10th of 2020, and there's green growth. The Austrian winter peas overwintered that well. I'm really interested in the root structure of this Austrian winter pea. And
another great one from Grow the Farm Up. Industrial ag is all about killing. Regenerative farming is all about keeping soil alive and roots growing 365 days a year. Winter peas grow in negative 20 degrees, freshest green 365. Interesting. Thank you for that. Grow the Farm Up.
We saw it on the other side too, because we have been working towards, regenerative farming practices, matching chemistry with biology for, decades. But boy, the worms are remarkable. If this corn is anywhere close to that's not a bad looking ear of corn for no nitrogen, no herbicide, no fungicide, no insect.
We are all carbon-based life forms, all microbes attached to the carbon chain. Very, very true. So, this cover crop, it's a way to take this carbon out of the atmosphere, put it into the soil, and not only subtract from a problem, but put it into the carbon chain that we all need. Good one, Heather. Good one. Anybody else really craving corn right now? Nice. Corn is awesome. And as a corn farmer, I'm like, yes, sweet corn, popcorn, any kind of corn. Cornbread, yes. God bless it.
Insecticide. This entire field is non-GMO. You can see a little insect feeding on the end there, a little tipping back. The ears aren't quite as big around, but if this Austrian winter pea patch yields, 155 bushels, let's just say, and that conventional patch that's about 20 rows that way yields, 240, boy, I'm really going to have to push my pencil and think about replicating this over 1,000 acres. And I think my banker probably wouldn't like that, because he's going to be missing out on all that interest. But I just wanted to show you guys, this is very interesting study. We'll see. I'm very interested to see what this yield monitor says. It also gives you some good soil armor. If this works out, these are in 30-inch rows, if I haven't said that yet. If this works out, I've kind of roughly worked out my break evens, and obviously my break even is much less, much less on this Austrian winter pea test plot. We have some other plots where we, burned back the Austrian winter peas a little bit. With the corn a little bit uneven, it had to come up through. Well, let's just take a look here. I mean, that ear corn didn't have 1 pound of nitrogen applied to it. What you would call, either dry, liquid, or that god-awful anhydrous ammonia. Not 1 pound of commercial fertilizer applied to that ear corn. That's all nitrates and nitrogen and fertility provided by the Austrian winter pea. And it overwintered. Now, the corn is a little bit uneven because it did have to come up through the cover crop. And in this particular patch, as I said, we didn't burn them back. And I was concerned that the corn would come up through the Austrian winter peas. And so you can see, there's some corn at some various different stages. There's a little itty bitty guy. There's an ear that's not that big. The truth will be in the yield monitor, and we'll see how this all works out, guys. I think this is going to be a really interesting test trial to see how this may be replicated for future years. I've been playing with these Austrian winter peas for a couple, 3-4 years now, and this is one patch where we just drilled the peas last fall and let them go. And I wanted to just show you guys quick. There's been so many people in and out of here taking a look at this that we've kind of got a roadway run down now. But, over here, and we'll just take a quick walk down the lane. Over here is the conventionally farmed, commercial herbicide fertilizer. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of dollars an acre more in this corn, and it looks fine. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, don't misunderstand. You can be good at conventionally farming too. Nothing wrong with that. But if these Austrian winter peas yield within 75 to even 100 bushels, even if they yield 75 or 100 bushels less, that's pretty close to input costs. And I tell you what, lowering the risk profile of agricultural operations is really what soil health, cover cropping, and nutrient density is all about. This has been a very good learning experience for me. Wanted to share it with you guys real quick, show you what the soil looks like. I mean, we don't have bad soils over there. We've been in cover cropping, regenerative farming rotations for 10, 15, almost 20 years on some of these farms. So, but we wanted to do a trial where we just drilled the peas last fall, about 15 acres, and just let them go. Plant the corn right into it, and we're going to let the yield monitor tell us and that will be a very interesting day. I'll keep you updated. You can look back at my channel and you can see, you know, where we planted into this. I got about 3 or 4 other videos that show, you know, green farming, green planting, and regenerative farming. This particular plot is back in some videos on my channel. So, you know, appreciate you guys taking the time to look at this with me. Austrian winter peas. There's a number of other various different cover crops that we put in also. But this Austrian winter pea, guys, I really encourage you guys to take a look at it. Put a lot of nitrogen, available nitrogen, into the soil. And I am extremely surprised. You know, obviously, the conventional corn, the conventionally farmed corn, is probably going to yield more. I mean, in fact, not probably, it will. But the question is, you know, I'm not trying to grow big bragging yields. You know, do you guys want to grow the highest yielding corn in the county? Well, of course, everybody would say yes to that. But how about we change up the paradigm a little bit? I want to grow the highest grossing, the highest net return corn in the county. I would rather grow the highest, the most profitable 185 bushel corn in southeast Nebraska than grow, you know, the high risk, you know, near break even highest yielding corn in southeast Nebraska, you know, around 280, 300 bushels. That costs a lot of money to get yourself up there into that 275 to 300 bushel range. So, all right, guys, I'm going to move on with the evening here. Grow the farm up. Austrian winter pea update. We'll let you know what the yield monitor says. Okay, guys, grow the.
Nice try. And so, yeah, interesting. Heather says, yeah, well, just like steroids will give you muscle, but that don't mean it's good for you. Yeah, that's why we're kind of on we're seeing what can be done with nutrient density, because you know the plants were getting to the point where, like you said, there's a cost to getting the highest yield. So how can you get the most nutrient density out of a plant? That's what I think the consumer really wants. And Wahoo Sam, especially with this new cover crop regime that we got, this new cover crop plan, Grow the Farm Up's really got a good plan here. But he's got Grow the Farm Up says bugs don't like to attack healthy plant tissue as much as petrochemical covered plant tissue. That is the first line of defense. Second line of defense is let me make sure I say this right. Parathoid insecticides. Yeah. God damn it. Anyways, sorry. Having one of those days. Well, thank you. Hang on one second. And I'm going to get another Grow the Farm Up video here going, because, you know, and it's right there. Gramps the Farm Up, because we're talking about all this cover crop. Oh, you know, good. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. He's got fucking ads on his video. You know, good fucking rapscallion. All right. One second. Pyrethoid insecticides, just like I always knew all along. Of course. But yeah, thank you. But also, look at this no good bastard. He's got fucking ads on his YouTube, and I'm not okay with that. I'm just not okay with that. He's got ads on his YouTube videos, and it invokes my jealousy from my older brother. There, I said it. But no, it's actually pretty fun. And also, what's funny is in this video, this is my dad and my brother. And my dad complains about, where did my spade shovel go? And I was actually the one that stole it. That was me. Yeah. Sorry, Dad.
Got a chance. Okay, guys, grow the farm up. I finally got a chance to run my father down, Brad Lauber Sr., who's been the brainchild behind our regenerative farming program for the last 20 years. I'll let you take it away, Dad.
Look at that soil, coffee grounds. We're planting today. It looks moist, but it's dry.
We're planting into this. Look at this. And we're getting a good seed bed.
Good decomposition. And you look, we planted 13 varieties. I'm trying to, here's some lentils. Here's wild mustard. That's a Austrian winter pea. These are forbs, hairy fetch. Just to name a few.
Procerathoid insecticides are synthetic replication of the chrysanthemum flower that grows a naturally occurring insecticide to protect the flower. As natural of an insecticide as you can spray today. Yes. All right. Well done, Grow the Farm Up. As you can see, I do trust him a lot. He's got a green thumb, and him and my dad my dad's has to be all credit, because you're getting a lifetime of soil experience and soil knowledge in this 4 minutes.
Clover.
There is clover, yes. If you got to dig down, you can find those petals.
I've just been simplifying it, calling them the legumes and cool season grasses, but that is the science behind it there. This guy has not applied anhydrous ammonia since 1982. 84, and has been working on biology, soil science, and regenerative farming since the 90s, since before it was cool.
I've done it both ways. We used to disc, chisel, field cultivate twice, and now we do nothing. We put on a cover crop, and there's got to be several tons an acre of organic matter here. And it'll show up in our tests.
I would not hesitate to suggest that we have actually created an 1/8 or a 16 inch of topsoil, because this cover crop was broadcast on in late July of 2020. It was not planted, it was broadcast into a standing cornfield and has not been touched since, other than we mowed it once with the shredder. Now we're planting directly into it. And look at this soil, folks. This is like peat moss that you would go buy. This looks much different than a lot of the rental ground we farm on.
If we had a spade, I can't believe we don't.
What kind of farmer doesn't have a spade, Dad?
One that, his sons take them all the time.
Well, he's
That
got
was
such
me.
good shovels. We might steal them from time. Sorry about that.
Can't see where
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we're kind of talking.
probably 5 or 6 of them.
We're kinda
We
talking
dig up and kill more
technical a
worms
little bit.
when we dig for seed to see where it's getting placed than we do find seeds. Wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to the old man, the brainchild behind most of, he says all of, I say most of, our regenerative farming techniques and tactics. And here he comes, just got fueled up. And look at that, we are drilling directly into this with a 7.5 inch Great Plains drill. High nutrient dense soybeans.
7.5 inch rows.
7.5 inch rows, 40 foot wide.
growing sugar beans.
Stay tuned. Come back and check out and see what the result of this is. All right, guys, grow the farm up.
And that is Grow the Farm Up. We're just planting right into the soybeans. And yeah, sorry, Dad, I totally shoveled that day. Oh Lord, but yeah, just a great YouTube channel you should definitely check out. Let's see if there's just another video that just kind of captures what it is that happens around here. I mean, I've got my harvest highlight, which you should definitely go check out because it was friggin' awesome. But yes, grow the farm up, folks. If you can see, yes, you can see it on your screen. Definitely check him out on YouTube. There he is right there. Grow the farm up. Give him a click, give him a subscribe, give him a share, folks. But folks, we are getting at that point, and we are getting at that time. We are at that place where I must say the rhyme, and I must say that it is I, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, and I must be brought to the point of the evening where I say, all that being said, thank you for joining me this evening for this debate analysis and much more, and a dive into Grow the Farm Up and all the beautiful things that happen there, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Definitely check out Grow the Farm Up on YouTube. This guy knows. You need to know what he knows if you want to get into anything, agriculture, horticulture, whatever. This guy loves to answer questions, so send him all the questions, every one of them. Type this name in right here into Amazon, and she's actually a published author. She's got books, so definitely check Heather out. Christmas is right around the corner, folks, so what the hey. Wahoo Sam, you're fucking awesome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us. God bless every last one of you, and I hope to find every last one of you back here, happy, healthy, much the wiser, folks. You can find me at K.O.E Nation on YouTube, K.O.E Nation on Twitch, K.O.E Nation on TikTok now. My God, I am expanding by the day. And, I gave a spoiler. Later, Wahoo. Later, Heather. Y'all are good people. Y'all are good folk. God bless. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Raise a glass or a bottle of tea or whatever you got to yourselves, and I hope to find every last one of you back here happy, healthy, much the wiser. And folks, I'm going to leave us this evening and this week with what was last week's poem of the week, and I'm hoping to have one up by Thursday, but we're going to go with this one. Actually, you know what? I'm changing the score here. What? Yes. Phil K. Watch what I'm doing here, folks. I'm going to the playlists of poetry. And yes, my favorite poem, Uncle Handsome's Redneck Poetry, The Road Less Graveled, folks. That's the one that we're ending it on tonight. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, and I will catch you on the flip side. And I'm probably going to be going live the next day or two. So keep your eyes on this space, folks. Later. God bless. How we doing, all y'all? I figured it's time for another poem of the week, and it's from Uncle Handsome's The Road Less Graveled on being a poet. I really like this one, so enjoy. Being a poet's like training a mule. It's something that just takes time. I've written poems since I was a boy, still too young to moonshine. Some folks think I'm different, but that's all right with me. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. He's got to be what he's got to be. So I let folks just talk just as much as they want about me spending weeks with my rhymes. Heaven knows there's a lot worse things a feller could do with his time. 'Cause a well-writ poem's like a well-trained mule. It's simply a joy to behold. It ain't worth as much, but you don't have to feed it or worry about it getting too old. And you don't have to worry about it breaking a leg or falling off in your well or jumping your fence or catching the colic or getting too pretty to sell. Uncle Handsome, the road less graveled, redneck poetry. I love this stuff. Folks, be sure to let me know if there's some poem you'd like me to read, or if you'd like me to read your poem, whatever. I just love beautiful poetry. And if you got one that you'd love me to read or you'd want me to read, I will find a beautiful place to do it. But folks, this has been our poem of the week on being a poet. Your thoughts, poets?